About the issues concerned of this push and pull of development and conservation and the role of the tourism industry in this mix. In the second presentation this afternoon at 2, I'll provide more details about what we're doing on tourism management and what you as members of the industry might do to become more involved. Certainly for me it's more interesting to have a bit of a discussion during these seminars. So this morning I'd like to begin by speaking to you about the ongoing challenges, which is many times a paradox, the desire to provide opportunities for recreation and tourism and economic development, and in parallel the need to provide effective conservation management to protect the very heritage asset resource that is the attraction. So how do we address this sticky question of how much is enough and when do we really pass the limits of acceptable change? I'm going to specifically be talking about World Heritage Sites, those sites inscribed on the World Heritage List. There's now 890 of these sites, and hopefully you're seeing them here if my PowerPoint is working. 689 cultural sites, 176 natural sites, and we have 25 mixed cultural and natural sites. These are considered the crown jewels of heritage assets around the world, and each site is considered as having an outstanding universal value. That means it's there's something significant, unique about the site that's important to the country, obviously, but also important to humankind. Just a brief word on the World Heritage Convention. This is a very robust and important legal instrument that's been signed by 186 governments. It's most of the governments of the world. The convention provides an additional layer of protection to these valuable sites, in addition to, obviously, the national legislation. I should add that the convention is the only convention that protects both natural as well as cultural properties. I'd like to say up front, because I know this is a tourism fair, that UNESCO faces the great challenge and opportunity of helping public authorities, the private sector, and civil service to realize that cultural and natural heritage is not only to be conserved and protected, but also that heritage is an important factor in development. This means the protection of heritage also implies that economic sectors such as the tourism industry remain viable. Only in this way can heritage provide opportunities for employment, income for local residents, revenues for public services, and funding for the very sites that are being visited through tourism revenues. All this is very important, and I work a lot in the developing world, and it's of particular importance in those countries. We all know, however, that tourism can have a double-edged sword, that outstanding universal values of the World Heritage Sites, the value upon which the site was inscribed on the list, can easily be threatened if not properly managed. The public has an unlimited desire to visit, appreciate, and learn about these natural and cultural properties. In recent years, worldwide, as you know, tourism has increased exponentially. Sites like Machu Picchu, Galapagos, Angkor have enjoyed increasing popularity among visitors. And if we're to believe the UNWTO, this trend is supposed to continue and even reaching in 15-20 years doubling the amount of visitors we have now. In 2006, even back then, cultural tourism apparently accounted for 40% of all trips worldwide, and making it one of the fastest growing market segments. Well, those of us involved in visitor management issues like me at the World Heritage Center see tourism growth and see it as something that can also produce difficult realities for the properties. Many cultural and natural properties were not designed to withstand this great number of visitors. And site managers, in my experience, find that many times it's difficult to balance their commitment to maintaining the integrity of the site with their duty to provide opportunities for visitors to experience the values which they contain. With inscription does not necessarily come additional resources for managing visitors. Other problems include properly trained professionals in tourism and recreation, community development, who are indispensable for managing the sites, are many times not even on the management staff. There might not even be these professionals in the protected area systems. Most archaeological sites, for example, are managed by archaeologists, despite the fact that tourism-related issues are a major concern at the site. It's been my experience that in developing countries, there are few specialists to make this essential link between the site, the community, and the tourism industry. UNESCO is particularly the World Heritage Center is increasingly called upon to recommend and implement practical solutions to better manage tourism at the sites. And these are not easy issues for us. UNESCO and its partners have found that the process of determining the acceptability or appropriateness of impact and actions is a very complex task, very complex, requiring not only scientific data, but also a series of informed value judgment. What we found is that we must have a dynamic process in place for identifying and making trade-offs within a set of agreed-upon limits. Objectives protecting the resources must be well established and sufficiently explicit to provide clear direction to management. Likewise, objectives for providing visitor experiences must be identified, and there must be social and political agreement on these goals. Frankly, it's been my experience that there's a real need to effectively involve the tourism industry in site management processes and actions. Innovative, creative approaches are needed to facilitate tourism industry cooperation with site administration, local conservation organizations, communities, and local governments. But what could these approaches be? Is this even possible? Certainly the industry, as some companies have been doing, could work with Unesco and site management to jointly develop materials to raise visitor awareness of World Heritage Sites and their fragility. These can be quite useful and can serve as a first step, but could we imagine even a more deepening relationship and an expanding effort with the industry, with you? Could the tourism industry become involved in programs for educating and empowering the local community in site preservation, management, or improving the quality and marketing of local cultural products? Even helping us generate in-kind services to raise the level of goods and services in local communities. The planning problem must be suitably described and framed. Might there be opportunities for the industry to provide input to such practical activities as development of tourism management plans, the harmonization or implementation of acceptable visitor fee and concession agreements? Could the tourism industry assist management in providing information from its clients and operators to help management gain a better understanding of visitor behavior and preferences? This is tremendously helpful in the design of management plans, particularly regarding infrastructure development. There could be what we call industry participation in destination councils, councils linking the sites, the communities, and the industry together, not just for marketing purposes, but also to help solve difficult problems at the site. Or could we imagine organizing together high-level joint tourism industry UN discussions with key government and local decision makers addressing concerns related to visitor management or tourism growth pressures and other impacts and issues, as being done by the Tour Operator Initiative. Such steps require better coordination and understanding between site managers and the tourism industry. Innovative approaches are, of course, needed to enable this private-public interface. While UNESCO's World Heritage Tourism Program, the one I run, has initiated a number of tourism-related projects designed to help train staff, provide local people with skills and other